How many times have you heard the phrase, I wish I had gotten into Bitcoin when it was $100? If only I had bought Ethereum in 2017. Now it's already too late. If you think the same way, this video is for you. Because the truth is, in crypto, it always feels like you're too late. In 2013, it was too late. In 2017, it was too late. In 2021, it was too late. And you know what? In 2030, people will say that 2025 was the perfect moment. Today, let's talk without hype, without fairy tales about Lambos. Let's talk honestly. Why too late is an illusion, and why starting today is far better than never starting at all. Why people feel like they're too late. The problem isn't crypto. The problem is in the mind. Our brain works very simply. It looks backward and fills in an ideal scenario. We open a Bitcoin chart from 10 years ago and see a path from pennies to tens of thousands of dollars. And at that moment, a thought automatically appears. That's it. The train has left. I'm too late. But the brain is deceiving us because we're looking at the chart in hindsight. We see only the outcome, but not the doubt, fear, and uncertainty of those who bought earlier. In 2013, it was scary. In 2017, it felt like a bubble. In 2021, people said it was over. Every single time, it felt like it was already too late. And here it's important to understand one thing. You don't have to catch the perfect bottom. You don't have to guess the best moment. You don't have to become a millionaire in a year. These are imposed expectations that have nothing to do with reality. You're also not competing with those who got in earlier. You can't outplay the past, and there's no point in trying. Comparing yourself to people who lived in a different time and under different conditions is a guaranteed way to never start. In reality, you're competing with only one version of yourself, the version that is afraid, doubts, postpones, and eventually does absolutely nothing. And every year of delay is not lost money. It's lost experience, understanding, and time. So the feeling of, I'm too late, is not a fact. It's just a convenient excuse not to begin. History repeats itself. Remember how it all started with the internet. In the early 2000s, people were saying exactly the same things that are being said about crypto today. They said, all the websites have already been built. Google is already a monopoly. There's no way in. YouTube is too late. Everything is already taken. And at that moment, it sounded logical. The internet already existed. Companies already existed. Someone was already making a lot of money. But what do we see today? Content creators are earning millions. Startups appear every year. Online businesses, services, platforms, entire industries that didn't even exist back then. Those who said it's too late simply didn't understand the scale of what was only beginning to unfold. And the exact same thing is happening with cryptocurrency right now. We're still at a stage where governments are only trying to figure things out and build regulations. Banks are just starting to enter and test the technology. Major players are observing, not acting at full scale yet. And the mass user, they either still don't understand how it works, or they believe it's something dangerous and unclear. And here it's important to realize one simple idea. When everything is clear to everyone, that's when it's truly too late. We are not at the end of the story. We are not at the finish line. We're not even close. We're in the middle of the journey. And it's exactly at moments like this that the biggest opportunities are created for those who can see further than just today. Why starting now isn't madness. Let's take emotions out of it. Let's stick to the facts. Today, cryptocurrency is no longer a marginal story for forum enthusiasts. It's not buy a token and hope it pumps. It's a separate, fully formed sector of the global financial system, and it continues to grow. Look at what's happening right now. First, Bitcoin ETFs. This means the largest financial players have officially recognized Bitcoin as an investment instrument. Pension funds, investment firms, insurance companies. This is capital that doesn't move on blind hope. Second, institutional money. The kind of money that moves markets for years, not something chasing a quick 10 times in a week. It enters carefully, slowly, and systematically. Third, major funds. They're not just buying assets. They're building infrastructure, investing in technology, and creating ecosystems. And finally, real products. Today, crypto is not just promises on a landing page. It's payment solutions, blockchain networks, DeFi services, NFT infrastructure, layer 2 technologies. These are things that are already being used, not just talked about. Yes, let's be honest. The insane gains of the early days are becoming rarer. But at the same time, the risks are decreasing. The market used to be wild. No rules, no protection, no understanding. Today, it's maturing. Slowly, sometimes painfully, but it is maturing. And if you think the only real chance was back in 2011, if it feels like all the best opportunities are already gone, then you're looking at crypto as a lottery, not as a market. Because in reality, this market is still being formed. It's not just the price that's changing. The role of crypto in the world is changing. In finance, in technology, in influence. That's why starting now isn't madness. What's truly madness is waiting for the moment when everything becomes obvious to everyone. The biggest mistake most beginners in crypto make the same mistake. And almost every time, the scenario is nearly identical. First, a person enters the market at the top. Because at that moment, everyone around is talking about growth, the news is positive, the chart is flying upward, and it feels like, if not now, then never. Then comes the second mistake, the desire for speed. To make money fast, double the deposit quickly prove to themselves that the decision was right. No one wants to wait. No one wants to learn. The third mistake is not understanding what they're actually buying. They don't know why the project exists, what risks it carries, who's behind it, or whether it even has a future. The purchase isn't based on understanding. It's based on emotions and other people's words. And then comes the almost inevitable ending. The market starts to correct, the price falls, fear appears, and instead of following a plan, the person sells in panic, locks in a loss, and then draws the conclusion, crypto is a scam. But let's be honest, the scam isn't the market. The scam is the lack of a strategy. Crypto isn't about guessing or gambling. It's not a casino. It's about patience, discipline, and understanding why you're here in the first place. Crypto is a marathon, not a sprint, and not a roulette wheel. The winners aren't the smartest or the fastest. The winners are those who can survive the downturns, avoid panic, and stay in the game when it becomes uncomfortable. Because in crypto, just like in any other market, those who survive are the ones who eventually win. How to start if you feel like you're too late. If it feels like you've arrived too late, the first thing you need to do is calm down and remove emotions from the equation. Because too late isn't about the date. Too late is about chaotic decisions. First and most important, don't try to chase the past. You didn't buy Bitcoin at $100. You didn't get into Ethereum at the very beginning. And that's okay. Trying to catch up almost always leads to mistakes because you're acting out of regret, not understanding. The past can't be changed, and the best time to start is the one you have right now. Second, start small. There's no need to go all in or risk money you actually need in your daily life. A small amount isn't a weakness, it's a smart move. It gives you experience, market understanding, and the ability to learn without constant stress. Third, understand what you're buying. Simply put, the foundation of the market is Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's the base. Everything else comes only after you understand why a project exists and what risks it carries. Buying without understanding isn't investing, it's a bet. Fourth, think in years, not weeks. Crypto doesn't reward impatience. Those who look at a 5 to 10-year horizon almost always end up in a better position than those trying to catch every short-term move. Fifth, invest only what you're not afraid to hold. Fear is an investor's main enemy. It forces you to sell at a loss, doubt yourself, and make the worst decisions. Markets can fall, but fear destroys more portfolios than the drops themselves. If you have a plan, patience, and a clear head, you're already ahead of most people, even if you started late. The truth no one talks about. There's one thing almost no one mentions when talking about cryptocurrency, and it's more important than any charts or forecasts. The biggest mistake is not losing money. Money can be earned again. It can be recovered, strategies can be rethought, and you can start from zero. The biggest mistake is losing time, because time never comes back. You can do nothing for years. You can just watch from the sidelines, read the news, watch videos, discuss the market. You can doubt, wait for the perfect moment, look for confirmation that now it's finally safe. And all of this looks reasonable, up to a certain point. Then 5 years pass. The market changes. Technology evolves. Some people gain experience, some make mistakes and learn from them, and some remain observers. And that's when the most unpleasant thought appears. I should have started back then. Not because you would have definitely become rich, but because you would have understanding, experience, and your own place in this market. And that scenario is the most expensive one. Not because of money, but because of lost time and opportunities that will never repeat in the same way. The market will always be intimidating. It will always feel like now isn't the best moment. But the best moment is almost always when you simply start learning and taking your first steps. Slowly, carefully, but without postponing life for later. For if you're watching this video, it means you're not too late. The very fact that you're here, listening and thinking about it, says more than it might seem. Too late isn't about a date or a price. Too late is when you don't try at all, when you convince yourself that there was only one chance and it's already gone. But real life doesn't work that way. Markets change, technology evolves, new opportunities appear again and again, just in different forms. Cryptocurrency isn't a story about fast money or easy wins. It's a story about mindset, about patience, about the ability to think long-term and make decisions without panic. The winners aren't the ones who time the perfect entry. They're the ones who can stay in the game long enough. And if you remember just one idea from this video, let it be this. It's better to start late than to spend your whole life thinking you could have started. If this video was useful to you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Are you already in crypto, or are you just thinking about taking your first step? See you in the next videos.